Well, welcome to my latest video. What you're looking at is a superb replica of a .30 caliber Browning, which I have converted over to my LPG system. This is the other side of the gun. As you can see, it has been fully marked up. The safety latch is present, has a bolt pull back. You actually can't do it once it's been converted over to gas. There's not enough room for a spring. It's designed obviously to go into all standard 30 cal mounts. What I intend to do in this video is actually disassemble this gun and take the unit out so that you can see how they're actually constructed. I thought this was a good illustration as to why, when using these weapons, it's not a good idea to get in front of them. You can see that the box, although it is about 2 foot from the muzzle, still gets some of the blast. I have disconnected the oxygen line and put in it a gauge which shows you the pressure that it's running at. It's running at approximately 15 pounds per square inch on oxygen, and the propane is so low it doesn't actually register. It runs at about 2 pounds per square inch. You can of course adjust these up to alter the actual sound of the gun, but always have a baseline figure in mind so that you know you can always get it back to a firing condition. Sometimes more gas actually does not give you more bang. This is the inside of the 30 caliber. The silver bit here, ouch, that's hot. Don't do that. When you've just fired it, it does get very hot, just like a real gun. Behind you can see one of the actuators for one of the solenoid valves. In there is all the wiring. That is the circuit board which runs the whole thing. It's only been roughly put in. Normally I would put a cover on it and velcro it to the side. But as I know I'm going to be taking it out in the next couple of minutes, I haven't bothered. Behind, in here, you've got the coil and the trigger, which goes onto a small switch. Right, first thing to do is actually remove the bolt handle. It doesn't actually serve any purpose apart from be decorative, but it would stop you disassembling the gun. So obviously this would be the last thing if you're putting it together. Next, you fish out all the electronics very carefully so that you can disconnect all the wiring. There we are. Now you can see the circuit board and the wiring. It's important to remember what wires go where. On this, black is neutral stroke negative, earth, red is positive, 2 green wires, doesn't matter which way they go round, are for the solenoid, 2 blue wires are for the trigger, and the yellow one is for the coil. Next, using a 14mm spanner, you remove the gas inlets here. As you can see, they're marked up. That one's marked up blue, that means for it. So that's the oxygen goes in that one. So propane or butane mix, whichever you're using, goes in there. They just simply unscrew. So now we have the trigger handle, electronics, dummy bolt and trigger unit. As you can see on the trigger unit, all it is a trigger going down onto a micro switch lever. That on the top is the small coil I use to have made so that it will fit inside the gun. These are the two quick release fittings I've just taken off. I actually used PTFE tape on them because I knew it was going to be disassembled. You can use a Loctite type liquid if you want to, but PTFE seems to do the job very nicely. It's very important though you don't get oil on these, because if you get oil into the system with compressed oxygen, you may get an explosion that you wouldn't like. The next thing to do is to actually remove the barrel assembly, which unlocks the LPG unit so it can be removed. Barrel assembly actually just screws in to the main block. You have to do it up pretty tight. You can use the band type wrenches that you use to get an oil filter off, or if you have access to the correct tool, as this is a really well made replica, don't know whether you can see, it's even got the markings on the end of the barrel, you can use the tool that would have locked into those. Right, I've now removed the barrel, which just leaves this mechanism to be taken out. It is a bit of a tight fit and a bit of a wiggle, but if you fiddle around it will come out. Okay, starts to move. Bit difficult to do one-handed. Okay, now you can see all the components that go into this Browning. Here's the barrel, which has been removed. You note on there that it actually does get extremely hot. So the paint has actually burnt on. There's the barrel jacket, trigger grip, etc. And the empty receiver. At the end you can see the remains of the PTFE tape that you put on the threads to help it make a gaslight seal. As you can see, the end of the block has the same thread in, so it locks the barrel on and locks the mechanism in place. I hope you enjoyed this little video, found it a little bit instructive. It actually gives you some idea of what goes into these simulators. Thank you for watching.